Hey guys, it's Rick again, and we're back with Weed to Know Basis. In today's episode, you're going to meet a true blue cannabis entrepreneur who went from idea to launch to scale. So you're going to meet in a little bit Matt Dixon. Stay tuned, guys. Matt Dixon he's a chef. I don't want to spill the beans in the intro, but a classically trained chef who turned into a cannabis entrepreneur. And this guy, his company is on fire. We're going to break down the secrets. Not even secrets, we're gonna break down the things that he did methodically, step by step to go from idea to launching one of the nation's fastest growing infused edible CBD companies. Stay tuned, guys. Weed to Know Basis coming right at you. Peace. Hey guys, this is Rick coming at you with Weed to Know Basis, the podcast for all things cannabis business related. Are you an entrepreneur? Have something you wanted to create, something you wanted to bring to life in the cannabis industry? Maybe you've always wanted to partake in one of the biggest industries in modern day history. This is the podcast to listen to. We're here and this is Weed to Know Basis, and different twist today. So actually, we're full of different twists. If we weren't, you wouldn't be tuning in. So today we're talking with Matt Dixon, and I already told you that in the intro, but Matt is one of those charming hustlers who has a skill, and he took that skill into an industry that you are interested in, or you're already in, and that's the cannabis industry. Now remember, the cannabis industry isn't always about a plant-touching product. It doesn't have to be an edible or a smokable or a topical. When we talk about the industry, there's dogs barking, but seriously, when we talk about the industry, guys, there's all different aspects. But today we're focusing on Matt Dixon and his company, FLORA Fortitude. So Matt, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Rick. Excited to be here.
It is. You guys may notice we have props. And
we do, yeah.
So the props, we're gonna talk about those in a sec, but guys, just make no mistake about it. This show is for you, for the startup cannabis entrepreneur, and this is really cool. You're going to talk about his branding here in a second. You're going to learn a little bit more about him. But Matt, tell us really briefly the genesis of FLORA and Fortitude.
Yeah. So really, how we got started was this guy by the name of Rick came to the farmer's market one Sunday. To make a really long story short, my wife and I own another company called Wildflower Caramel Company. Rick and Lisa had been purchasing our items for, a period of time, and then he just kind of mic dropped it and said, "Hey, would you ever think about putting CBD in your products?" And then it was like a light switch. And I went home that night and I talked to my wife Ellen about it, who is, by the way, the one behind our edible that we'll share with you guys in just a little bit. I said, "So this guy Rick, he mentioned this, tossing some CBD into our caramels. What do you think?" And she goes, "Well, I never thought about that." And we had experimented using CBD ourselves within the last year or so before actually putting it into our products. Long story short, we got maybe within a couple of weeks, we had a product ready to hit the shelf. So it was literally taking what we knew, adding an ingredient, and we get to the stage of getting out to a whole new audience.
I'm gonna double back here just a second, Matt. But my wife just walked in. So guys, when we do these live, we're literally doing these live, and so my wife, Lisa, just walked in.
Hi, Lisa.
She's over off camera there. So say hello, Lisa. So yeah, we're not going to edit that out, guys, because we're not Hollywood.
This is real.
This is real. Here's the thing. Here's kind of one of the beautiful things about entrepreneurship is you have to pivot no matter what, especially if the wife comes in. You got to say hello to hello to Lisa. But back to Matt. She came down to just say hello to us while we record. So let's back up a little bit, because I love the Genesis story, and obviously I do know it, and you're doing something really, really great in the industry, without a doubt. So you mentioned that you're taking what you knew. Tell us about what you knew. Basically, what is your background before creating this line of CBD infused products?
Yeah, so Ellen and I come from a foodie background, if you will. By nature, we are chefs and enjoy food have played a role in the nutrition and food industry for a while, working, in and out of either a restaurant business or Whole Foods market. We both worked there for 2 to 3 plus years each. Ellen, my mother-in-law, Ellen's mom, is a registered nutritionist and continues to practice that independently. So we come from a pretty deep background of being in the food, health, nutrition industry, and that's kind of what made this dive for us pretty easy.
Cool. So yeah, and I wanted to tease that out because as a lot of people are considering jumping into the industry, generally speaking, they think of 2 things. How do I grow it, and then how do I retail it? Yeah. And while those are possibilities, sometimes people aren't farmers. Like I'm definitely not. I'm not a green thumb. So the point of what Matt says, guys, is it's just really tune into that, because taking what you already know, and now they are literally chefs, so they are involved in the food industry, and I'm going to touch a little bit about. I want to know more about your family and how you balance all that. But taking what you already know, the things that, for instance, and maybe you don't have a skill set, maybe you're not a chef or some sort of artist or things like that, but there's things that people come to you about. Maybe it's for advice about nutrition, maybe it's advice about economics, maybe you're a CPA, but I love, and I wanted to tease that out because even though Matt says it was easy, it's never easy, but it's easier when you have a basis of knowledge. Yeah. So what you said is now you have essentially 2 companies. You have Wildflower, which is the non-infused, and correct. I know that company because I buy those caramels quite often, and they're sold at hotels across the U.S. and in boutique shops. And you have another company called FLORA FORTITUDE, which is essentially, my words, not yours, but it's the same product infused with CBD, right?
Right. Yeah. So
there wasn't a big leap per se. It was just the addition of an ingredient.
Yeah.
So right. it can be simple. So so FLORA FORTITUDE, you went from the idea, and you said in about 2 weeks you had a workable, tangible, edible product. And tell us a little bit more about that journey, because it's been how many months now since you actually launched it?
About 7.
About 7 months. Break down, not in detail, but just kind of high level, if you will, like what has that journey been like from the time we first spoke at your trailer to 7 months today?
For me, and this might not be for everyone, but for Ellen and I, like Rick said, we had already started Wildflower. We kind of knew, we had our bearings on how to start a business. So put that aside about us for a little bit.
You already had a basis of business knowledge,
right?
With Wildflower.
Yeah, we had a basis of business knowledge with Wildflower. Had a pretty good idea of how we could start a CBD company, even just with a couple of initial conversations with Rick. We kind of sat on a few brand names for a week or 2. Found one that we really found fitting, and branding and brand development and the look and things like that are kind of like my strong suit in the company, if you will. So I'm really big about textures and looks, and I base a lot of my development branding by your core senses. First, you draw people in with their eyes. So you're engaging their eyes. Most of the people will come up and touch an item, pick it up, see what it has to say on the label or something like that, get a little bit closer look. And as I continue to engage with people, if I'm the one directly in front of them, able to talk to them about my product, I'm engaging them verbally. So I'm using my mouth to speak to them, and they're using their ears, their sense of hearing, to retain what I have to say to them. And then in most cases, like when you see us out at the farmer's market, we will hand you a sample. So you come to my trailer at the farmer's market. We begin this engagement process, and as we're doing that, I'm cutting a sample of a caramel for you, and I'll physically hand it to you.
So you're talking to somebody, they're in front of your booth, and so you've got a variety of things going on, up to and including you're literally slicing them a piece to hand to them while you've got them captivated?
Correct. So within about 30 seconds from when somebody sees my sign or my brand at the trailer at the farmer's market here in San Antonio, about 30 seconds to a minute, I have fully engaged that person's senses, every single one of them. And that's the goal, to make it kind of short and sweet, get them in there, give them a sample, and then once we get to that point, our rate of making a sale is really high.
Nice. I love that. I've never honestly thought of, I wrote down every single thing you said: see, touch, feel, verbal, hearing, and then they taste it. You've taken a sales process and made it not a sales process. Mm-hmm. You've made it an engagement process, and at the end of the engagement, they actually get to taste your core product, or one of the core products. And interesting. I've never thought of it in that sense, and I learn something new every time. But you're busy. You're at a lot of conferences. You're at a lot of events. You guys go up to Waco. You have the farmers markets for both companies, and it's you and your wife. It's you and Ellen, and you have a family. You're a dad.
Yeah.
So he's a dad. He's a busy.
I'm a dad.
So all of y'all was like, well, I got a family and I got this. He's a dad. And you got one on the way, right?
We do, yeah.
They have a bun in the oven. That's not a cooking pun, it's the truth. So how does that work? You've got you and your wife are both foodies, you're culinary artists. You have 2 kids, and I've met them both, and you have one on the way.
We do.
How does that work? Not just running a business, but scaling a company, taking it from point D to point Z.
Yeah, a lot of planning. A lot of strategic planning, a lot of conversations, and tossing ideas back and forth. How we're going to make this work? How is this going to operate? How are we going to scale when the new baby comes and Ellen has to take some time off? What that question really comes down to for me, Rick, is time dedication. How are you dedicating your time, and where? And to be honest with you guys listening, I've never been an excellent note taker. I've never been really good at having a planner. I have since started, and so you see I carry around my planner.
It says plan.
It says plan, a weekly planner notebook. It's super helpful. I have a note section in here where I can go down and add to the things that I need to do in a little bit more detail. And then I have my 3 things that I need to try and get done every day. And I have those 3 things, and I try and check them off. So really, it's having a plan. And I think that's how any successful business needs to start, making a plan to execute those goals.
Nice. I like it. I like it. I know that there's a lot of folks in the industry about to get in, and they have other obligations, whether it's family or a job. Yeah. And a lot of times it comes down to that 4-letter, 7-letter word called balance. Is that 7 letters? B-A-L-A-N-C. Yeah, 7 letters. And what you've proposed is keeping it wicked simple. A notebook that you can keep yourself in line, and conversations.
Yeah.
So is Ellen supportive of the growth, or where you believe your 2 businesses are heading? Are you guys in tandem on your business ventures?
Oh yeah, absolutely. This wouldn't work without being 100% on board with one another and where we want to take these companies.
It can get rocky.
It can, yeah. The initial conversations between Ellen and I were difficult. Being a marital partner and a business partner under the same roof has challenges. There's not, we don't get to, not one of us really get to leave for the day for 8 hours and come back. We're working together, side by side most of the time. I have my things that I do and take care of, and she has her thing, but we work really closely together. And so it's not all like fairy tale. We do have some hard times, and starting up was a little bit difficult. But once we began to have more and more conversations about this, we knew that this was the right path for us, that we are passionate about the use of cannabis, and we believe really what we want to do around cannabis is create a community, foster sustainability with the use of hemp in many different ways. There are literally thousands of different ways that hemp can be used. We also want to encourage healing, because that's what we've found for ourselves through the use of CBD, and have testimony from many others. So guys, it's not easy starting out, but what I can say is if you have a plan and you can kind of check off the boxes to execution, you're bound to see some amount of success. Yeah.
Nice. You mentioned 3 words, and you mentioned community, sustainability, and healing. Mm-hmm. And that's also part of your company ethos.
Correct.
So tell us about how those 3 words, and I'm just taking it out of context because you meant your ethos is actually a phrase or a sentence, mm-hmm. but why does having that ethos, or you can reframe, say ethos is your values or your mission statement or your vision. So you can basically, that's essentially what it is. Tell us how community, sustainability, and healing became the ethos of Flora Fortitude.
Yeah. So, and really sitting down and thinking about the footprint that we wanted to have in the cannabis industry, we sat down on several occasions trying to come up with, who we are. We didn't want to just be, a white label brand, though there may be some of you out there starting a white label brand, and that's great. And I encourage you in that. For us, we wanted to do something a little bit different. We wanted to stand out in a way that wasn't doing something that a lot of other people are doing. And so we really see our products as kind of higher end luxury type items. We wanted to be able to engage people with these items in a shareable sense, if you will. And so we want people to, when they purchase, one of our items, whether it's through our online store or in any retail location where you can find them, is to be able to take them and share them with others. For Ellen and I, being able to share, and this really comes down to like a great bigger picture. Guys, if you could see it, we're at a really long table here at the Pearl, and it's pretty awesome. A dream of ours, and it's going to happen really soon, is to have a table very much like this, where we have a group of people sitting around. We are creating community. We are having a dinner. We're having an infused dinner, and we're fostering those relationships. We're fostering community, and we're encouraging healing, all at the same time, all in one place. So you're getting the healing through the infused foods that we will be placing on the table. We are fostering community and sustainability by using recyclable products or hemp products, hemp paper plates and things like that. And the community is being created all around our brand, or who we are, our ethos, just by sitting down and having a meal together. So that's kind of what we wanted to be known for. It's what we wanted people to understand about us, that they can take this back to their kitchen tables or their dining rooms or in the park or their festival that they're attending or their picnic, or you name it. Get a group of people together and share these products and create that community and that healing together.
Nice. I like it. I like that that's your ethos, and you've pretty vividly painted a picture, a vision, if you will, of not only what your company is going to do, but in a sense of where you're headed. In a second, I'm going to ask you a little bit more detail about where Flora is headed.
Yeah.
Your vision of where you see it going from a very business and tactical standpoint. But I like that. I'm also a big believer in having a vision. And it's for some it sounds woo-woo, but if you're an entrepreneur, it should absolutely be one of the first things you focus on. Mm-hmm. It's almost like planning a trip. You know, if you plan a trip from San Antonio to LA and driving to the east is never going to get you there. So understanding where you're going and how you're going to get there is what I just described as a different way of describing what Matt says: planning, executing, and knowing where you're headed and why. So, and I love that ethos. So it has an earthy feel to it as you say it. Is that part of who you are? And was that who you were before getting into the industry, or did the industry shape you more into becoming more, and those are my words, in tune to that earthiness, that wholesomeness?
Yeah, that was who we were prior.
Before. Okay.
Yeah, before getting into this industry. But we wanted to bring who we were, who we are, and like I said earlier, add one ingredient: cannabis. Rick says that it's not that simple, and it isn't that simple, but it kind of is in a way, because what I tell people all the time that come to me saying, you know, how did you get started? How do I get started? I say, what are you good at? What are you passionate about? And some will say, oh, I'm a nurse, or I'm a doctor, or I work in oil and gas, or I drill pipelines, or I work with pets. I'm a veterinarian. And I say, cannabis can be used in all those. CBD can be used. Hemp can be used for all of those things. You just have to dial it down to what you want to do and how hemp or CBD cannabis can be applied. To answer your question, Rick, yes, that has been our background for a long time, and that kind of gets us into the nutrition and health aspect. Both Ellen and I's background is in that over the last 10 years or so.
I'm going to go back to the whole two company things. Mm-hmm. So Wildflower is a caramel, very traditional, non-infused company, and you started that several years ago, and it's been written about in major publications, like major magazines. So Wildflower has been featured in not only major publications, magazines, but festivals across the U.S., big ones. And I won't mention names unless you want to, but these are known festivals. And so when the thought or idea came, or let's just say the moment that we talked at your trailer that fateful day 7 months ago, a while back, what was it like to not only, so forget about the family balance thing, but to think about launching something that was infused with a very misunderstood and counterculture ingredient? In other words, what was it like? Was there turbulent waters or a time where you thought, what the hell are we doing? We're about to launch a company that could sink you. You know, it's very counterculture. So how did you grapple that? Like, walk us through like what happened, and when you finally decided we're doing this, we're going to launch a CBD company, and damn what people say.
Well, in the very beginning stages, we treaded pretty lightly.
Why?
We have a very large audience that were from a region, if you will.
Conservative type?
Yeah, conservative type that, you know, not very understanding. And we wanted to be able to educate upfront about the use, that cannabis isn't only used for getting high, and it's not only used at parties and raves and things like that. We wanted to educate about the healing aspect of it, and how it has been a miracle supplement for many people. And so we treaded lightly for a little bit, because we have such a following from the South. And as you mentioned, we have been in some major publications and it made us nervous, thinking, oh man, like we got a lot of attraction from those publications. I mean, hundreds, if not thousands of orders.
And those were, just to be clear, those were awards they won. These weren't like they placed ads in magazines.
Right.
These were awards you won from major magazines, and you then were featured in them.
And so we have that huge audience. We were uncertain, with how they would react to it. And so at the very beginning, we separated the two companies, and they are separated to this day, but more and more people here locally, especially, and most people here locally, and even others outside of the San Antonio, South Central Texas area, are beginning to know that we are Wildflower and we are Flora and Fortitude. But that has come with time over the last several months and come with education, and we haven't had, one fallout of a follower or a retailer or anything like that, people knowing that we do both.
But it's, I guess something I'm taking from this is that it was scary in the beginning. Mm-hmm. It was, and you put food on your table because of Wildflower. So there was the legitimate potential of that being harmed because you were venturing into the CBD industry. Mm-hmm. And it's something to take note of because it hasn't gone away. It hasn't gone away. It still exists, but here's the thing to take from this, especially if you're listening, is that there are champions out there. There are people who have been there, done that, and that's one of the premises of what we're doing here, is to let you know you're not alone. That there are pioneers and there are settlers out there who are who are blazing a trail, and this show, this channel, is about bringing these people together. Yeah. You talked about community around your product, and it's a wonderful thing. So if we even expounded that idea of this, because there really is a big table here as we're sitting. Yeah. Now imagine a combined force of a Flora and Fortitude, of a green seed, of a weed to no basis, and we can have tables like this across the city, across cities and regions and countries. And I don't believe it's about marching on Capitol Hill. It has to be done. It's not about writing to your senator. It has to be done. But you're taking a different approach to push the industry forward, and that's by being a creator. You're being a true blue entrepreneur. You're a creator. You're an artist, and that's something to take from this, guys. Is that whatever you think you're going to do or want to do, tap into what you already know and develop an ethos. The ethos is what often keeps you, the person, the company, the followers, vendors on track and in line. And we could even say that because you focused on your ethos, your vision, that has kept you out of the proverbial hot water. And something I will say is your CBD infused products were actually featured for a short time at one of the premier hotels in the entire country. And right. Guys, that goes through with a lot of hard work and fortitude and hustle and grind and having a legitimate product or service that somebody wants. So tell us about this. I know what these are, but this is as much for us and for you as it is for the industry to see that this isn't just idle talk. You created something that is now out in the world. People are consuming. That's called business. Mm-hmm. So you've built something and you're creating. So tell us about what you have here, what this is.
Yeah. So Rick asked me to bring a few props. So I followed through on my homework. So our first thing that we launched was our infused caramels. We use all organic, ethically and sustainably sourced ingredients. All of our CBD comes from a small batch hemp farm just outside Colorado Springs. We use all organic cane sugar, organic butter and cream, organic and fair trade brown rice syrup. And then we also have some additional flavors just outside of the regular salted caramel flavor. We do a dark chocolate and sea salt. Yeah, I brought some here.
Check them out.
Yeah, just to don't drool as you're watching.
These are really badass.
This guy is our salted caramel. As I mentioned, we also have a dark chocolate and sea salt caramel. We have a maple bourbon caramel. And
real bourbon.
Real bourbon is in that caramel, yeah, with CBD.
Nice.
And this is a coconut, which is also vegan, which is, to be pretty honest with you, we're one of the first in the industry to do a vegan infused caramel. And so these are a super hot and very hot item. People love them, and we have so many testimonies of people moms and dads giving these to their kids who have severe anxiety and social disorders going to school, and they literally won't get up out of their bed in the morning. And if they try and give them a CBD tincture or an oil and drop it in their mouth, they will spit it out. But they wake up and give them half of one of these or a whole one of these and just say, here's your morning piece of candy, take it. And we literally got an email from a lady not long ago that said, your caramel products have literally saved our family's life, which is pretty awesome. So that's
what it's all about.
Absolutely.
This is a human thing. It's not a political issue or something that goes on in places that we don't see. This is a human thing that we're talking. This industry is about people, and so I love that story.
Yeah. And so we wanted to create items that people enjoy. So we created the edibles with the caramels. My wife is
quick, how many milligrams are they? It's the same milligram strength for all the caramels?
Yes. So each caramel, no matter the flavor, is 20 milligrams.
20 milligrams in these.
20 milligrams per caramel.
Is it an isolate or is it a full spectrum CBD?
It is an isolate.
Okay. All those things matter. So if you guys are out there and you're in the industry, those are questions that you might want to know. But if you don't know what that means, then just check it out. So these are infused with 20 milligrams per piece of an isolate CBD product.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. We also have a coffee, a cold brew coffee. My wife is a huge coffee drinker, and we thought about this just as again another pleasure, enjoyable type item that people drink and take every day. So we've been trying to figure out items, pleasure, luxury type items that people enjoy on a daily basis and think, okay, how can we infuse CBD into that and have it be within their daily regimen to where they're not having to carry around a pill box or an oil bottle in their purse or having to think about that because they're already going to have coffee in the morning. They're gonna have a dessert at night. They may have a cocktail in the evening. And that was just a little hint of something that we have coming really soon. Listen and watch. Listen and watch. Our two hyper-focused items right now, you guys, is our CBD-infused caramels and our CBD-infused cold brew coffee. We use a local to San Antonio coffee roaster. A little shout out to Shotgun House Roasters. If you guys know them, you can get, these are available at both locations there in San Antonio.
They just opened up a new one, right?
They did, yeah.
That's right.
If you're tuning in from San Antonio, go pay them a visit. You'll be able to find our products there as well.
Well, I'm curious. So besides, if you can say it, where else besides Shotgun House can FLORA Fortitude, the infused version, be found?
Yeah, so you can find our products locally at Alamo Botanicals, Bliss Botanicals.
And at the end, we'll definitely grab your website and whatever you want to share. So several botanical shops, Shotgun House. What about outside of San Antonio?
So we have a footprint in a couple of hotels. Actually, one here in San Antonio, Hotel Havana, where you can find our products, as well as Joe's Coffee Shop in Austin. They're on South Congress. We partnered with them to do a Joe's Cold Brew infused, so that's available there now. And Mary J. in Austin, that is on South Lamar.
Gotcha. I know them. I know that. I know those two.
Yes. So if you guys are watching this, hi, we love you. Thank you for your just amazing selves and your support. So.
Yeah, so something to take beyond the places where you can find FLORA products is consider now what you've heard up to this point in about whatever 30 minutes or whatever we've been talking. Is this CBD company was launched from an idea roughly 7 months ago. 7 months ago, you went from idea to should we do this? Should we not do this? Lots of conversations as you shared, some of them deep, some of them are we going to do this? And then you talked about how a CBD infused product alongside your traditional business could be destructive. And you made the decision to forge ahead, to go on. 7 months, folks, and now you're seeing the literal result, 2 infused products, the flagship products with 1 on the way. But here's what I want you to take from that is I asked you because where you're being placed, because you are now at least 10 locations. 10.
Yeah. Because several of those stores that I was mentioning earlier have multiple locations.
Yes, so at least, so let's just call it a baker's dozen of locations. Yeah. So the operative underneath everything you've heard, besides Matt's fantastic story and where they're headed, and we'll talk about that in a sec, is in 7 months gone from idea to launch to scale to having a physical presence in a baker's dozen locations throughout South Central Texas. Think about that, guys. That doesn't happen overnight. It happens with grit, with grind, with, like Matt said, planning, execution, and staying true to the ethos or vision. So there's a lot beneath that, guys, and that's why the shout outs are going to be great, but I just wanted you to realize almost over a dozen locations they're in less than 7 months. Yeah. So that will likely mean that there is revenue flowing through this company. They're making money. So tell us a little bit about, 7 months, and to the extent that you want to share with the world, where do you see Flora and Fortitude, say, in 3 years? This is the fun part. You get to visualize it.
Yeah. Ellen and I have always, well, I won't speak for Ellen here, but I have just been the type of person that wants to be known for something. I think we all are, if we're being true to ourselves. So maybe I can speak for Ellen, maybe not. But we all want to be known for something. And for Ellen and I, kind of dialing this in, just specifically who we are, we don't want to be known for the millions of dollars that we have earned, though we are going to. We want to be known for the millions of relationships formed around our ideas and around our products. Over the next, say, 1 to 2 years, you're literally going to be able to find our products across every state. There's no doubt about it. We're going to be available in every state within the U.S. within the next 1 to 2 years. I won't get into really revenue projections, but it's a lot. And
when we say a lot, guys, I'm going to chime in here. We're talking the 7 figures a lot, like annual revenues of 7 figures and beyond a lot. So just to give you some context. So I'm not speaking for Matt, but we're talking getting into the multi-millions of gross revenues. So not his words, those are my words. I just want to be clear that I want to put some context around a lot.
Sure.
So
yeah, and there's a lot of people that want to know that. And when they're getting into this, they want to know, okay, what am I going to be able to make? What can I shoot for? And so it's definitely important to be able to talk about that at certain levels. For Ellen and I, we are going to continue to develop new products, what we are good at. I am a big dreamer, a vision type of guy, and so I literally will stay up at night thinking of products or new ideas and how we can involve the use of CBD or cannabis, like with this, crazy idea that I've had. And I don't want to spoil too much about what we're going to be rolling out over the next few months.
You got to follow them to know what's coming up.
That's very true. But it's really exciting stuff.
Where do you see the industry going in general? Like in the next, let's say 3 years, in just a general, where do you see this headed? Cannabis as a whole, not just CBD, over the next few years, and not just Texas. Let's just call it in the U.S. footprint.
Yeah, I see it being. You can read the headlines, guys. It's out there already. It's going to be $1 billion industry.
CVS,
Walgreens, even. Walmart, Whole Foods, HEBs. It's gonna be big. Really, what's most interesting to me on this topic is hemp, CBD, cannabis is going to find its way into every industry that's out there right now. It's already found its way into the nursing, and nursing, doctor, that type of practice, chiropractic, you name it, already found its way there. It's going to be involved in the sports and entertainment industry. It's going to be into the packaging industry. Soon, there's going to be so many companies out there that are developing hemp papers and hemp cardboard and hemp textiles and hemp plastic bottles and hemp, bags similar to this one, but they're made from hemp. It's going to be across the food industry. It's going to be across the hospitality industry. The sky's the limit. I think it's going to be across every industry in some form or fashion over the next 10 years.
What's your website, Matt? Just share it with folks in case
they
want to...
So our website is floraandfortitude.com, FLORAANDFORTITUDE.com. Also follow us on Facebook at Flora and Fortitude, and on Instagram at Flora and Fortitude.
Yeah, this is one of the last things Matt said is he didn't just talk about the industry growth as far as consumable products like edibles or topicals or things like that, but the vastness of the industry.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you said that and that was not prompted at all. But the industry, something that we've touted on is that the industry is beyond the plant. It's all the stuff. If you imagine the people who produce these boxes, they now have an additional revenue stream with cannabis companies. The people who produce these bottles, these are this could be a Budweiser for all we know, it's not. But my point is that the person who produces these glass bottles and the labels and the caps, they now have a whole new vertical, and that goes to all the parts, the ingredients, the milk, the sugar, organically sourced. These companies all now have entire new verticals. So the compelling statement underneath what Matt said is think outside of the plant itself. How can you, if you're listening, you are on a weed to know basis. You know that you're here because you're a budding entrepreneur, you have an idea, or you're in the industry and looking to scale. So sometimes a pivot is in order. Maybe it's a pivot of an idea. Maybe it's a pivot of a product. So one of our goals here, guys, is to expand your mind, expand your thinking, and then help you get on that track and stay on that track, to use Matt's words, to have a plan and to execute on that. And I love it because, Matt, you're a living, breathing, literal proof of what somebody with an idea to impact the world can do with the skill set they already have. And it's been exciting. It's been cool to not only be a friend of yours, but to eat this stuff, because this is legitimately some of the best caramels, not even CBD or otherwise. The stuff it's all handmade, guys. This is all small batch handmade. They literally make stuff all by hand right now, and it is by far. You know what? I'm just going to say this. You feel good eating these caramels.
Yeah,
you actually
sure.
You feel different, and I don't mean because of CBD. I mean because of what you've put into it. Everything You've said,
and that's what we want people to feel.
And you do. So Instagram, guys. If you're listening to this and you have questions, by all means, you can. If you're on YouTube or Facebook, ask the questions right there as you're listening, and we'll be sure to reply to them all. If you have other questions, guys, you can always reach out directly to Matt. Yeah. He gave you his Instagram handles, and we'll be posting these on the actual when these go live. Also, don't forget to follow us, weedtoknowbasis.com. Well, you're following us now. Make sure you subscribe to us, and we're here to help. We're here to answer your questions. We're here to impact and move forward this industry it's here and it's here to stay, period. Matt, any last parting statements, words, things you want to share that you haven't said up until now? The mic is yours.
Man, I don't know if you want to do that.
Could be dangerous.
No. Thank you, Rick, for having us on. Thank you for tuning in and listening for over an hour now, if you made it that far. Yeah, follow us. Follow our story. We want you to know who we are, and we want to know you. So please engage with us, as Rick said, through Instagram, Facebook, through our website. That's really what we are about, is creating community and fostering that, engaging with others, helping everybody through whatever you might be going through in ways that CBD can help. So again, thank you for having us, Rick. Thank you for listening, and we're just excited to grow together.
Nice. So guys, don't forget, you've tuned in. This is an episode with Matt, the co-CEO, co-founder of FLORA Fortitude. Fantastic artisan CBD products. You've heard the story. If you're listening, you are on a weed to know basis. We have to throw a gang sign, Matt. I'm going to do in LA. No gang sign. Whatever your gang sign, he's got to think of one right now.
Weed to know.
Weed to know, LA. And we can't forget Chris behind the camera there making this all happen.
Thank you, Chris.
Yes, if you're listening, you guys are on a weed to know basis. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to us. Peace.